too hard for you. So instead of paying for a gym
sounds pre-hypertensive. In 90 days.
America, I've given you all, and now I'm nothing. America, $2.27, January 17th, 1956. America, I can't stand my own mind. America, when will we end the human war? Go fuck yourself with your atom bomb. I don't feel good, don't bother me. I won't write my poem until I'm in my right mind. When will you be angelic? When will you take off your clothes? When will you look at yourself through the grave? When will you be worthy of your million Christs? America, why are your libraries full of tears? America, when will you send your eggs to India? I'm sick of your insane demands.
L'America non è solo questa, quella del consumismo, delle immagini, delle promesse sterili di ricchezza e benessere. L'America dei beat è un bersaglio facile, costruita da una società conservatrice e bigotta, cieca e priva di giudizio critico. È contro di essa che partì una vera e propria ribellione. Il nostro viaggio si immerge in questo spirito anticonformista, lo attraversa, cerca di capirne le forme e i cambiamenti. Dan ci aiuta a farlo. Lui incontra Melissa, la compagna, 5 anni fa, mentre entrambi facevano autostop e decidono di vivere l'avventura insieme.
So, where you come from?
North Carolina. Well, I was born in Florida, but I've traveled all over the country and pretty much lived everywhere in America. Within 2 years, I'm in another state. You know, I have my house, my community isn't just that one little town or one state. It's all over the country.
Where are you going now?
Now we're on our way to Arizona, down south, Springerville, Eager. It's right on the New Mexico border, out in the middle of nowhere.
How is travel for you? Is your life?
It's hectic sometimes, especially with this little guy. We gotta stop a lot because he hates sitting in the seat.
How many states you see in your life?
48.
48?
I've seen every state but Alaska and Hawaii. Well, I've seen them on the internet, but I haven't been to them yet. I've only been to every state in the lower 48, right? Without flying, without crossing a border.
What is for you the American dream?
I don't know. I mean, I guess just to have a good life and to be able to live comfortably. I don't really know if there is a single dream anymore in America. Everyone has independent dreams, and that's the American dream, is to be able to follow your own path in life. Like, no matter what you want to do, it's available, hopefully.
And you have a dream?
No, not really. I mean, I just want to live, like, one day at a time, enjoy my life, enjoy today, and raise my kid right.
So you read in your life on the road the book of Kerouac, or you don't know?
Yeah, I've read that.
You read that?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. Like, it really opened people's eyes, because he was one of the first people to really travel, just to do it and write about it. It really helps other people who are stuck in their one place their whole life. It really helps them see what it's like, you know, to experience that adventure without actually having to leave their comfort zone. Well,
we were both hitchhiking and we met each other in a town.
Yep. She was camped out and me and some friends were coming through hitchhiking and
I had gotten stuck.
Yeah.
Me and my dog. The dog I had in the car.
The dog.
Yeah, she was just a puppy and she pulled me across the street.
How many years ago it happened?
She'll be 5, so 4.
Yeah. Shoot, while she was pregnant, we were still traveling. Like, I know most people that have their families all in one town or one state. You know, they might live in different towns, but me.
His dad lives in Arizona, his brother lives in Kansas, his mom lives in North Carolina, and his grandparents live in Florida.
You live in America like a city.
Well, it's like a state. Like, America is my state, and then there's a bunch of cities in it.
The states are our blocks.
Yeah.
You know, like a city block, only
Yes.
it's a state block.
Il viaggio tra gli Stati Uniti devia dalla Route 66 ed entra nel cuore del Wild West. Inizia il deserto, i canyon interminabili, le rocce e le riserve indiane. Tra Arizona, Colorado, Utah e Nevada c'è uno degli ultimi territori in cui gli indiani sopravvivono e mantengono la loro autonomia. Qui vive la tribù dei Navajo, che significa ladri, chiamati così dagli spagnoli che avevano notato quanto fossero abili nel trarre beneficio dalle usanze e dai costumi dei popoli con i quali entravano in contatto. Era l'unico modo per sopravvivere ai cambiamenti, ci dice Rose. La incontriamo nel Grand Canyon. Vende ceramiche dipinte e collane di turchesi e ci racconta lo spirito della sua gente.
How do you live here?
There's a lot of changes. We've gone through living off the land about 50, 60 years ago. Some of our young men and then some of the young ladies, they were actually taken away from the family to go to school. Instead of making school on the reservation, they put them like in different part of the country. We have a government system in Washington. It says Bureau of Indian Affairs. Behind it, it says Warfare Against Indian on there. All they did was change the name. That was it. When I went to school, we went to boarding school. We were always told not to speak our language, but just the English. We were punished, like corporal punishment, if we did speak our language. In our culture, we are a matriarch culture. So the woman is the owner of the land, the sheep, and all that stuff. The reason was the man was part of the warfare, the party. And they would know. Sometimes they die, they don't come home. So the woman would be the one to kind of like move on the tradition.
A lot of young people are going out from the clans and are going in the cities. They would like to change maybe their life. What do you think about that?
I think the clan system is good. It keeps the bond strong with your elders, with yourself too. We call ourselves the earth people. This is the story for everybody. This is our home. There's an entranceway for our home. And it goes from being youthful to to the child, and then the middle stage where it's like marriage. And then you have kids here. It always goes back in circle again. And it is the same way with learning. This is the childhood learning about the animals and the land. And from here, you learn about science. That's that sacred thing that we call. And there's our land. Our land's right here. And that's our mountain. And that's our clouds. And that's an entranceway to our home, where our heart and our soul and our mind are. And then when you forget, you look at your basket and remember your steps in life, where it leads you. And the turquoise is like you wearing it. It tells the deity or the God that you are a Navajo. Maybe God's looking down and see a turquoise. So there is one of my children. Navajos or Native Americans, they're very spiritual. I have the gift of healing.
Really?
Only when my hand gets warm. Whatever is on them, touch it, comes on me. Gotta release it.
You have a dream?
Do I have a dream? I want to build me a home. Yate. Beauty before you, beauty behind you, beauty beside you. Yate.
Yate.
Dal Grand Canyon si può salire verso nord, al confine tra Utah e Arizona. Qui c'è la Monument Valley, la valle sacra. Sacra perché una delle ultime zone dove gli indiani hanno la libertà di gestire i territori e avere attività commerciali senza l'interferenza del governo americano. Joe è nato e cresciuto qui. Ci chiede di non riprendere il suo volto, ma ci lascia liberi di ascoltare il suo racconto, quello del Long Walk e del perché la loro è una guerra tacita ma senza fine contro l'impero statunitense.
I was born and raised here, yes. I grew up here. Yes, this is the real Wild West. Well, this is one of the last strongholds, you know, like one of the last safe place to live. Most of the people that are around here, you know, never were forced to move any other places, whereas most of the, like Canning, Duché, most of the southern Navajos, they were forced to move to Fort Sumner. And for us, this has always been a safe place, a refuge area. Even by early 1900, this was considered one of the last place where you could find Navajos in their original traditional clothes, practicing traditional ceremonies. A lot of the eastern Indians were forced to move to Oklahoma because a lot of them were relocated there because it was barren, flat, no escape. That was a place that the government chose to put all the Indians there. The Long Walk back in 1864 to 1868, but that was the treaties were signed in 1868. But the first treaty goes back to 1846. That was the first treaty between the Americans and the Navajos. My descendant never went on the Long Walk. You know, the way that history is written, it's different than how it really happened, you know. Since most of the writers or whoever wrote the history, you know, it's not going to be an Navajo that's not going to be writing what happened and stuff. I hope there's somebody that's writing the truth. A lot of time is when there's an Indian writers, nobody wants to publish it. So you got a lot of writers that would go overseas, and then, you know, and that's where it's been normally be published. See, the other thing I didn't mention was, you know, you would talk about all the massacres that the United States ever did to the Indians, you know. They never talk about any of those things, where they actually shoot babies just to save a bullet. They would kick in a woman's skull, you know. You never hear anything about those things. The cavalries did that. The United States Army did that. You got some Americans that are good. You got some Americans that will still cheat out of everything. You know, sometimes you still have that hatred feeling, but you can't do nothing about it. It might not be like a land, but it's more like now of making money, you know. It's like what's underneath this whole land: oil, coal, uranium. That's all they want again. They already had uranium already. There's thousands of Navajos that work in the mines. The government knew then that later in life they were going to be diagnosed with cancer, but never did nothing. You still have a lot of red tapes that you have to go through too again. It takes forever to start something, you know. It takes a lot more, you know, a lot more energy. You get rejected after rejection. At the end, you kind of like, you don't want to do nothing no more. And from being put down so many times, you have no energy. They have a way of putting you down, you know. You fought for so long, and then at the end you lose again, and that you don't want no more. That's what most Indians wanted to do, was be left alone.
Lasciamo la Valle Sacra e ci dirigiamo verso ovest, attraversando lo Utah, Nevada, la folle Las Vegas e l'insensatezza occidentale. Ci abbagliano i neon, il rumore di fondo che non tace mai e la quantità enorme di persone convinte che quello sia tutto ciò che si può desiderare. I nostri desideri però sono altri. Il giorno dopo siamo nella Shangri-La della California. Poco più a nord di Los Angeles c'è Ojai. Dagli anni 20 e poi nuovamente nei 60 si trasforma in una meta ambita e preziosa di pellegrini e filosofi, artisti e persone in cerca della pace. Per gli abitanti del posto, Ojai è una terra dove c'è qualcosa di speciale. A raccontarcelo è Kevin Wallace. Oggi vive nell'abitazione di Beatrix Wood, la Mama of Dada, dove gestisce il centro di studi per l'arte intitolato all'artista. Ci parla di Beatrix come di una donna dall'aura eccezionale, seguace di Krishnamurti, il quale spostò qui la sua comunità teosofica. Lei fu capace di una vera rivoluzione.
Beatrice Wood is one of those people with this gift that some people have where they make you feel like you're the only person in the room. She was a person who really got things philosophically and understood them. And part of that getting it philosophically was to lighten up. And she loved to be the naughty little girl. She loved to be flirtatious, right? I mean, up through her hundreds.
Can you describe us a little bit the story of this woman that lived 105 years and spent the last time of her life in Ojai?
If you're familiar with the movie Titanic, the character of Rose is based on Beatrice Wood. In rebelling against her mother, she didn't mean to go as far as she did. She didn't mean to become a bohemian, to hang out with artists, to become a free spirit. She just wanted to be free. She was an actress for many years. She was a lifelong theosophist studying Eastern thought. She became a potter at the age of 40. She took her first ceramics class. Probably the last 20, 25 years of her life, she took this medium of pottery and ceramics and rejoined it with Dada thinking and Duchamp and really loosened up and really started breaking all the rules.
She's called Mama of Dada. Why she's the mama of them?
She was a part of the group, very good friends with Marcel Duchamp and mentored by him. Her mother had sent her to France to learn how to create art properly, how to paint. And so when she saw modern art, she looked at it and she said, well, anybody can do that. And Duchamp challenged her and he said, well, then do it. And then, of course, she found out it wasn't so easy to let go, to loosen up, to be free. They started something called Crotona in Hollywood, which was a sort of a utopian colony, and she was connected with that. And then the silent film industry in Hollywood started to take off, and they realized it wasn't working. So in the 20s, they moved up to Ojai. They moved Crotona to Ojai. But from the very beginning, people would come to Ojai to be healed because they were told that there was something about Ojai that had a healing power. The light's different here. And so artists and spiritual people would be much more likely to notice that or to feel that, react to it. You know, beneath us on this mountain, there's thousands and thousands of rattlesnakes. And it could be the energy of the rattlesnake, who were considered sacred creatures to the Native Americans.
What happened in that time here in Ojai about the hippie movement?
What they call the hippie movement, it's difficult to say exactly what it was because it was sort of a back to the earth movement. It was really a rejection of everything that we were being given as people. And people wanted to be free. There was a number of people at the time that said, we want out. And some of them became farmers. Some said, we want to make things with our hands. We want to make ceramics. That was, for Beatrice Wood, opened things up. The hippies embraced her. That generation of people embraced her because she was the original rebel. I mean, she was rebelling long before, when their grandparents were around. Beatrice Wood was already rebelling. She was already hanging out with the free spirits. And Ojai was the perfect place for this to happen. There was Krishnamurti here, who was thought of as an Eastern, a wise Eastern master. Well, certainly the beat movement was escaping from the status quo. They were dropping out. They were already, suspicious-looking characters because they'd grow their hair a little longer, have beards, goatees. There was already experimentation with drugs, and there was the Eastern thought was very much involved in the beat movement. People see it as separate movements. They say, oh, there were the Beats and the Beatniks, there were the hippies, but they transitioned. It was really a transition. And Neil Cassidy is probably the purest way of understanding that transition, because he went from the beatnik, the on-the-road experience, all the way through the bus and the pranksters with Ken Kesey, and that was really the bridge. I mean, that was, well, you know, Apple's thing was think differently. You know, I don't know if in Europe they use that, but think differently. And that's what the Beats were, and that's what the hippies were, you know. Steve Jobs, I think, represents sort of that new world. Well, you know, from the beginning, there was this idea that it was the American experiment. And I think we still are an experiment, where I think the United States of America is in a constant state of reinvention. And part of that reinvention is the rebellion.
L'influsso del misticismo e la potenza dell'arte ad Ojai spinse molti artisti provenienti da ogni parte d'America a spostarsi nel villaggio. Tra questi incontriamo Sylvia Raz. Anche lei ci parla a suo modo di ribellione. La famiglia fugge dall'Europa nazista, lei nasce in Uruguay e vive per 10 anni a Gerusalemme. È lì che la sua attenzione e critica vivace la portano a concentrarsi sull'arte sociale e di contestazione. Cerca di catturare con i suoi esseri assemblati e le sue sculture i più sublimi e patetici aspetti della vita, con i quali denuncia, protesta, suscita riso e paura, per far riflettere chi li osserva.
I lost family in the Holocaust. So that's how I had this kind of social conscience. We went to live in Israel for 11 years, and then we came here. It happened, you know, and I started to change. I had an injury, I couldn't work, so I started to think, what can I do that is not involving the martello mecánico, you know. So I kind of recovered the need for more color, my Latin America, my Uruguayan roots, you know. And then I came to Ojai, and maybe Ojai had to do also with my emotional recovery. I felt that I was getting stronger to do what I'm doing, which is social commentary, you know. America, you know, that has so many problems in all senses. People are very minded with success, in money, you know, in power, in these kind of expressions.
The American dream.
The American dream. It can be great when you achieve it. But if you don't achieve it, you may be pretty miserable. I think there is envy, that feeling that we are the country, we are the ones, and it's our obligation, you know, to go and teach other countries how to live. Everything you have there is found. I buy, I find, people give me, you know, say, like I'm the queen of found objects, so people send me Barbies. I do many things with Barbies. They give me like mannequins. You know, I use the figure of the woman for all this symbolism. That's what would really give credit to me being an artist. Using my hands to express what my heart feels. I don't feel myself as a professional artist because I feel that I enjoy playing. I come here and play like a child. Since I came to Ojai, I stopped buying clothes. I don't feel the need to buy clothes. I feel I have too much, and I feel that that's not the most important thing. It takes the best out of people. Many people, even like me, that came from Los Angeles, changed. You know, you go through a transformation here. You don't need to adorn yourself or your home or your life with all these things that say, I am important, I am powerful, I am successful, you know. And it may feel a need for American people for beauty, you know. Art doesn't necessarily have to be beautiful. To me, it goes together, not even at the same, you know, pace, with a meaning. So that will be my dream. Peace. I dream of peace. Because I have children and grandchildren. And I feel that that's the hardest thing to achieve.
Abbiamo attraversato luoghi che hanno uno spirito, terre di sacrifici e segreti, di ribellione, terre di libertà. Kerouac si trova nel mezzo del selvaggio West prima di arrivare a Los Angeles. Racconta in On the Road le sue sensazioni. Non avevo paura, ero semplicemente qualcun altro, uno sconosciuto. E tutta la vita era una vita stregata, la vita di un fantasma. Ero a metà strada tra una costa e l'altra dell'America, al confine tra l'est della mia giovinezza e il west del mio futuro. E forse è per questo che accadde proprio lì, in quel momento, in quello strano pomeriggio rosso.